when analyzing my data, I did 3 different things. I first transcribed 4 of my wrap-ups. I also compared my original lesson plans to my enacted lesson plans to what actually happened in the moment. And I also watched my videos with and then without sound. And to give you a little sense of what this process was like, watching it first with sound and then without sound, I'm going to play just a 30-second clip of one of my wrap-ups. And you'll see that watching it with sound, I was picking up on my language, my verbal language. And then watching it without sound, I was picking up on my body language. What was I doing, my physical actions, and also the students. This is from a lesson, wrap-up on soil ingredients. But just picking up on my facial expressions, looking at where the students are sitting. Are they looking at me? They're looking at the ground, at up here, at the wall. So just these different things stood out to me in different aspects of my wrap-up, looking at them with sound and without sound. So the second thing I did with my data was I created a structured analysis table. And what I noticed as I was going through my wrap-ups, they could be broken up into 3 different parts: an opening, a middle, and an ending. This was regardless of how long or how short the wrap-ups were. And I noticed that usually in my openings of my wrap-ups, my planned questions and my enacted questions were more or less the same. But in my middle and ending, I tended to change the questions. And this is an example where in the middle and the ending, I completely changed what I had meant to, or what I was planning on saying and what happened in the moment while I was actually teaching the wrap-up. So the red questions are my original questions, and the blue questions are what I actually asked the students. So I had 2 main findings after going through and analyzing my data. The first was that wrap-ups matter. And what I mean by this is that they really are this essential component to your lessons. They really do make a difference for you and for the students. And I noticed that when I was explicit and coherent with students about what a wrap-up is, when we have a wrap-up, they would call them wrap-ups to me and they'd say, "Nitzan, are we having a wrap-up today?" So they learned to use that language. And the second finding was that making an explicit transition will help your students prepare for the wrap-up. And then to connect, this is a quote from Ruth Trine's Teaching Children to Care. And she says that short, simple directions are essential if we expect specific actions. And what I noticed was, before my wrap-ups, I never really transitioned the students. I never gave them ample time to prepare for what we were doing. I never told them what to do and how to get ready for what we were doing. So I never gave them the short, simple directions, but I expected those specific actions. So how will this influence my future teaching practice? 3 main ways. 1 is transitioning. From now on, not only with wrap-ups, but with everything I do, I'm going to transition with my students. Giving them ample time, letting them know, and even paraphrase to me what they understood, what's going to happen next. I'm also going to give my wrap-ups a title. And a name. And what I mean by that, it's wrap-up time. So one of my students noticed that when my mentors were taping me with the video camera, we were having a wrap-up. So one day I was putting away the video camera, and the student came up to me and said, "Oh, you have the camera, are we doing a wrap-up time?" So he picked up on that. He realized that when I use this title, he started using it as well for the wrap-up. So giving everything I do a name. And the last way I bring this into my research would be through wrap-up expectations. What I mean by this, so before all of my lessons and all of my mentors' lessons, we would have a list of meeting-time expectations. They're basically just 6 rules. And with the students, we would always go over these 6 rules right before the lesson. And there was this immediate difference when doing this. The students were immediately more engaged and just were ready to listen and learn. Before my wrap-ups, I never had expectations because I felt that we were so fast-paced, I had to get right into them. I didn't ever stop to read them with the students again. So what I would do is I would read even 2 or 3 expectations before my wrap-ups, just to give the students a sense of this is what we're doing now, this is how you should be acting, this is how you should be preparing for the wrap-up. So overall, I would sharpen in structure, and I would hone in on how I'm starting my wrap-ups, how I'm ending my lessons. And I would also want to create a safe space for my students, where they feel comfortable and where they're excited to share their understandings and ask their questions during the wrap-up. And these are my references, and that wraps it up.